in the post-event email that will be sent at a later date, probably within the next couple of days. If you could remain on mute when Austin from Dear is speaking and talking about the pairings and the tastings of the wines and all of that, that would be very great. And then to get things started, I am going to share a video from Jen Heisey, the Vice President of Alumni and Donor Experience.
Welcome to today's program, and thank you so much for joining us. Your UC Alumni Association offers a variety of activities like this to help our alumni and friends come together to learn, network, and just have fun. We have more than 315,000 alumni in 127 countries, and while we hope to gather together again in person soon, virtual experiences like this provide a great way for Bearcats to stay connected to the university and to each other. I hope you enjoy this wonderful program today, and if you like it, invite fellow Bearcats to join us at future alumni events, and share your experiences on social media using the hashtag #ThyLoyalChildren. Thanks again for being with us today. Go Bearcats!
Okay, and as I mentioned briefly just before, the Alumni Association is getting ready to return to in-person activities on August 16th. I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Cynthia Miller, who is the Senior Director of Alumni and Donor Experience, to touch on that a little bit more and some of the upcoming activities we have planned in August.
Thanks, Lauren. Hi, everyone. My name's Cynthia, as she mentioned, and I am the Senior Director of Constituent Engagement here at the University of Cincinnati Alumni Association. I'm excited to see all of you here virtually today, but I'm even more excited to say that we get to see you in person again real soon. So as she mentioned, August 16th is that special day that we will all be returning to campus. So we will be in the office. And that is the date where we are able to start hosting in-person meetings and events again. If you haven't seen yet, one of our first events will be Bearcats at the Ballpark. If you're not familiar with that, that's the fun day where UC takes over Great American Ballpark. So that's August 21st. We'll drop that here in the chat just so that you all have it. If you're interested in joining, we'll have some fun activities lined up and some great giveaways. In addition to that, you, I'm sure, have seen, just since you are all, part of UnCorked, that we will be hosting an in-person UnCorked event at Ripple Wine Bar in Covington, Kentucky. Lauren, you're gonna have to remind me of that date. Sorry, I didn't write that one down.
Thursday, August 19th.
Thursday, August 19th. Okay, so right after that return date. So we will be at Ripple Wine Bar. That registration is open. That will be in the post-event email that is sent after this evening's event. The other thing that is in the works that we're getting lots of questions about is we will be having a Bearcats on the Road tailgate event at Notre Dame. We are in the process of working out all those details with Notre Dame. We hope to have that here in the next week or two, but go ahead and mark your calendars if you plan on traveling to South Bend, because we will have an official alumni tailgate and we're very excited to do that. So those are the main things that we have coming up. As always, check out our UC Alumni Association event calendar. That's where you'll start to see more things rolling out as we and our team kind of starts putting new things together. Any questions about anything return to events? Are we all excited about returning to in-person events? Yeah, all right. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Cynthia. And then also just real quick to touch on, I know that there might have been some confusion this afternoon when you were picking up your kits from Dear. Austin, one of the owners of Dear, will be joining us on the call here in just a few minutes. He also did put together a video, which is the QR code on that little sheet of paper that was given to you all when you picked up your wine kit. And that is just a a 4 to 5 minute video that you all can take a look back on at any time, kind of similar to how we would send a post-event recording, just to talk about the tastings and the pairings. Austin should be joining us in the next 5 or so minutes. So we have a little bit of time. If you guys want to go ahead and unmute yourselves, talk. If you guys have started trying the wines, how do you like them?
Hey, Lauren, what kind of tailgating goes on at home games with the Alumni Association?
Yes. So in years past, we have had a spot on the grid, which is down on Sigma Sigma Commons. I believe we are doing that again this year. Yes.
Yeah. Do you want me to jump in? Yeah.
Yes.
So with all of our recent team changes, that is one of the things that now falls within my team. So Sydney Cavish is on the line as well, I believe, but she is in the process of putting together our strategy for the grid, but we will be there for all home games. It's the same grid spot that we were in previous years, but we'll make sure all of that communication goes out. Once again, we're in the process of finalizing some details, but we plan to have some fun giveaways for alumni who stop by. You know, the opportunity to put your name in for some bigger ticket drawings as well. But we will have that kind of traditional pop-up tent there on the grid as we have in the past for all home games. Sid, anything you want to add or?
No, I think that covers it. We're excited to have everybody back to campus.
Lots of things in the works. It was like, as soon as they said, all right, August 16th, we can do in-person events again, we hit the ground running. So here in the next couple of weeks, I promise you'll have more details. Are we still waiting for Austin to join, Lauren?
Yes.
Okay. Is everyone joining us from somewhere local, or is anyone out of town, or thought we maybe had 1 or 2 out of town people joining today? Everyone local?
We have 2 guests from Vermont joining us today. This is Robert, it's Cindy and Larry. So they decided to try. We bragged about this and said it was a fun time. So this is our fun evening.
And Jim and Pat are from Dayton, Ohio.
Great.
Thank
Well,
you all
welcome
for
everyone.
joining us.
Yeah.
So Larry and Cindy, what are you drinking and eating since you didn't obviously pick up the box?
You have to unmute.
We did pick up the box along with Robert and Marcia. Sorry for the echo, we're in the same room.
So you're visiting from out of town. You came at the right time after the cicadas left.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
timed it perfectly.
Oh, we just moved from Cincinnati the day before the cicadas came out, and now we're back visiting after the cicadas.
We ain't done.
You timed that right.
You really timed it perfectly.
This was my first year experiencing the Cincinnati cicadas, and I'm not going to lie, at first I just thought everyone was hyping it up like a lot of, things tend to be, but they're real. It was real. It was an experience.
There. It looks like Austin has joined in. Hi, Austin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good. So
I'll go ahead and pass it over to you to go ahead and get started with the tasting. If you want to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about Dear, background on Dear, and then we can go ahead and get started.
sure. Were you guys just discussing cicada pairings? Is that why I'm here? Oh no? Oh, okay. So my name's Austin. I'm the wine director of Dear Restaurant in Hyde Park Square. It's actually hitting our 1-year anniversary this week. Pretty excited about it. Made it through COVID, but we are a very wine-centric restaurant. We actually we got written up in Wine Spectator as a top 10 new restaurant last week. Pretty excited about that. We do a lot of fun things with wine and food. I think it really balances out here. Chef Brian and Caitlin, with their backgrounds in food and where they've come from. And Brian, originally from Nashville, has a little bit of Southern influence, and then via Boston. We just started going with our raw bar tonight, which will take over the butchery area after about 5:30 p.m. So it's a really exciting time, and we work really closely together when putting together these pairings. So kind of how we put together your pairings is Brian and I sat down and we cracked a bottle of each of these for research purposes, of course. We kind of went over like what was the character, what's driving each of these wines, and then how does that translate into food. But pairings can go both ways. And stop me, by the way, stop me anytime if you have any questions about anything, or you want me to go down the rabbit hole a little deeper on anything. I'll just keep on talking otherwise. But so sometimes as a sommelier, I'm put in a situation where the food is already built and I need to find a wine to go with food, such as the menu. When chef presents a menu, I'm pairing wines, choosing wines by the glass that go well, complement each item on the list. In this particular case, I get to lead the charge by choosing the wine first and then orchestrating a dish around the wine. With that, you can really, really nail it. So, what the things that stuck out to me the most, first of all, a little bit about the white wine, the La Rive Gavi. I kind of go pretty deep into it in the videos that come on the QR codes on your cards. But it's the main white grape coming from Piedmont. So the northeastern portion of Italy. It dominates the white wines of that area. It's in a very hilly appellation that's located in the Italian Alps. The red grape that would kind of complement it, kind of the yin to the yang, is Nebbiolo. So some of you may have heard of Piedmont and Barolo Nebbiolo, Barbaresco, Barolo. This is the counter white grape to that red grape. Things that really stuck out when I tasted this wine were the classic things that are classic Italian. Things that I expect from white wines in Italy are herbal qualities, marked acidity, and it always has a distinct bitter almond, green almond, or brown almond finish to it. And then there's various levels of oxidation, but most white grapes see a little bit of neutral oak. And I found all of those things in this wine. In addition to, I found it had a really generous mid palate. And when I say mid palate, I think I'm referring to the texture of the wine. Like it had enough fruit and breadth to give body and weight to the wine. So it really kind of checked all the boxes is for a classic Italian wine, if not a little bit more opulent in style. So we were talking and we're like, all right, like what kind of things would go well with this? Well, you know, I think white raspberry came to mind because it's it's fruity, and that kind of goes with the mid palate of the wine, you know, kind of pairing with those like golden apple, pear, the Meyer lemon qualities. That's really where the raspberry comes into it. Now the goat cheese is very mineral. It had an herb rind on it, so it has a little bit of that herbal influence. We thought it was really pleasurable in the mouth. And another thing, like, you always have to look at structure when you're putting together a pairing. So what is the food doing to the wine, or what is the wine doing to the food? So we really wanted to balance that bitterness of the wine with something with a little bit of sweetness. And I think the golden raspberry is really, really kind of honed in on that, and kind of satiated that bitter almond finish, and kind of provided a contrast to the savoriness of the wine. So, just to give you like context, most old world wines tend to be more savory. And when I say old world, I mean like wines from Europe. They tend to have more savoriness, like whether that's herbal character, or, something foresty or mushroomy, or, could be more oxidative and woodsy. You think of like savory herbs in particular, versus, New World wines tend to be more about varietal purity of fruit. So, you don't really see Cortese, the varietal, in this wine in the New World. But, if you think about like New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, or, Chenin Blanc, or, like New World varietals that are really fruity, Muscat or Viognier from California, they don't have as much, like, they're not as much about the secondary, like, herbal qualities or minerality as you would find in European varietals. So, and that really reflects in the food pairings. I think both have a lot of versatility when it comes to pairing foods with the wines, but certainly, like with European wines, you definitely want to have some more savory components to really go with the earthy savoriness of the wines. So yeah, La Rive, it's a producer is dedicated specifically to the production of Cortese, or as it's called, Gavi de Gavi, which is the name of the DOCG. And a DOCG refers to the highest level of quality that you can have in Italy. Then below it you go DOC and IGT, and then Vino di Tavola, which is table wine. So that there's 17 of them in Piedmont, and this is one for just this wine. And this producer specializes in it. Been around for about 40 years, and it has a lot of freshness, and just really really easy drinking wine as well, I thought. Did you all like it?
I liked it a lot, Austin.
Excellent.
About half the bottle's gone right now.
Heyo.
What type of?
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what type of entree would you serve with this?
Ooh,
That's two things.
Man, oh man. Let me see. I would defer to our new menu here. So, I mean, I certainly like fish applications galore. I wouldn't go with like a super oily fish. You know, I would definitely like think, you know, that it would go with something that was a little bit, you know, maybe a little more meaty, something with a little bit more of a tooth to it. Like I think a swordfish style texture would be nice. And then if you think about like something with some nuttiness on it, like an almondine sauce, perhaps with some yellow fruits intertwined in there, would go well with this. You know, and that's called a bridge ingredient. You know, you kind of want to pick out something in a dish that's going to directly. Olives go really good with Italian wines, especially green olives. So, doing like something like a tapenade style, like we have like a dish. It's a salmon dish right now. It's pistachios with preserved Meyer lemon and olives. It's kind of like a crunchy tapenade. And I think that would go really, really good with this wine. I mean, I don't think it would be bad either with some greens that have a little bit of bitterness to it. You know, bitter goes well with bitter. Obviously, you don't want to overdo it, but like one example I like to use is broccoli rabe and Nebbiolo. Broccoli rabe is really, it has like a very bitter component to it, almost astringent, but it just sings well with Nebbiolo without compounding too much bitterness. But I don't particularly, I think this wine would get lost in something that was like creamy and fatty, you know, because a dish like that, you kind of want something to either like pierce through the creaminess, or be like really creamy and fatty itself, you know, like something like some like Palms Robuchon, or, you know, like Palmzana, like potato dishes that have a lot of butter in them. I don't really like this wine with that kind of a dish. But I do think it would go great with like any kind of oyster or like crudo. You know, I think it has that kind of freshness to it. Like crudo meaning like raw fish. You know, we have a hamachi crudo on that has tomato and strawberry, like underripe strawberry, that I think would be really good with this. Just because it's, you got to match the body too. You know, this is a moderate bodied wine. You know, it's not a massive full bodied white. So, you know, that's another kind of component that you have to think about. It's the body of the dish.
Raise your hand. Yeah,
You guys-
couple of comments.
Yep.
One is I think the wine is really excellent from the most important perspective, which is it tastes great. Okay, I almost think like, and I appreciate the explanation that you gave about the vineyard and the region and all of that, but at the end of the day, you made it sound almost more complex than you needed to, right? You know, you open the bottle, you drink it, it's great. Second question is, you know, given the way that Italians eat, right? So the prima course tends to be a pasta dish of some kind. So if you made it, and you would also mention that it could match well with maybe something a bit more savory. So, you know, a mushroom pasta dish, I mean, is that something that could work here, or do you think that you know, would not necessarily cut through that? And then the third question, which is the most practical question, is where can you get this locally in Cincinnati?
I mean, Dear Restaurant Butchery. You know, I don't know where they sell it retail. I got this wine specifically for you all. But I can find that out and relay it to Lauren about where these wines would be available for retail, for sure. But to answer your other question, So if you're thinking about like a stuffed mushroom pasta, like an agnolotti or something that has a ravioli of some sort, I would definitely institute like an herbal component and keep it on the light side. I wouldn't go too heavy. So like porcini or shiitake is going to be a little bit too hearty of a mushroom, I think, for this wine. You might want to go more like beach or oyster and keep it a little bit lighter bodied, and then really focus more on that herb. Chef Ryan, hi.
How's it going? I just needed to get something, but I just wanted to say.
Yeah, he did. This is who made all your pairings. So, yeah. So I would, just focus more on like keeping the body and the flavor not too powerful, as not to overpower the wine, and really institute a lot of herbal. Maybe crunch up some almonds in there, and put in some like chervil, or tarragon, and kind of create a mixture of flavors and go about it like that. So
Excellent. Thank you.
Question. Yeah. So what are some of the ways that you'd recommend we learn about good food pairings with wines?
I love the book What to Eat with What to Drink by Evan Goldstein. He's a master sommelier, and literally the entire book lists, one half of the book lists wines, and then underneath, like grapes, and then underneath each grape, specific ingredients.
Cool. Okay.
And then the second half of the book lists food, and then underneath each food item, but it kind of ingredient, like it'll list like tomatoes and like mushrooms, bananas, and kiwis, whatever. And then it lists like specific wines underneath. So that was like the first step I took to learning like bridge ingredients.
Okay.
And that'll help you kind of connect to a dish. But then I read another book, which it was written by a master of wine. Trying to think the name of the book that I also couldn't get to Lauren, but it talked about the different types of pairings, the different ways to pair, and what not to do. So certain things like alcohol with chili, high alcohol with hot foods do not go well together. Right. Fish oil with red wines, like a really oily fish, tastes more metallic. Strongly tannic wines need proteins because they bond like polymers and lipids, and then that's what makes them kind of go smooth out together. It smooths out the rather tannic wine. Like the Gossier, I don't know if you all have tried that, but that has a little bit of grip to it, that the Rezzola kind of sedates the grip a little bit by bonding to those tannins. So you got to kind of approach it from both angles. Salt and, how does the acid in the wine improve the dish, or vice versa, so I'll get that name of that book to Lauren.
Thank you.
But you got to, approach it from both angles,
I'm open. Hi, I have a question. I was thinking, based on what you said, and green olive tapenade would be good with this wine, like on some good crusty bread.
Yeah, I keep it simple, wine full. You don't need a complex dish to make the pairing just absolutely lovely. Like last Sunday we had sat down and we had a rosé champagne with it was New World. It was an Oregon sparkling rosé, and we had it with fresh strawberries and whipped cream, and it was the most, and it had a lot of like autolysis and creaminess to it, but it was the most amazing pairing that you can imagine. So it was very simple and just lovely. So go for it.
Okay.
How did you come across this wine? Did your distributor recommend it or did you go to Italy?
I haven't been stuck here like everyone else through COVID. But I got this through Winecraft. They're one of my favorite distributors here in town. Gordon Hugh started this 40 years ago, and he only does small producers that are intimately involved with the quality of their fruit and the quality of their wine. And he, especially Italian wines, recommended this one in particular. And you know, I kind of described what I was looking for, and he helped me get to it. But I have been to Piedmont. I did harvest in 2014 in Barolo, and I visited this region. And since then, I've worked a lot with this specific producer. They do really good quality wines. So yeah.
So if you could pick one place to travel to drink wine, where would it be?
It's a great question. You know, here's the great part is that every wine region is beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally can't think of a wine region that you could visit that is not absolutely gorgeous. But you know, if I had to choose a place that I would visit or go back and visit, man, you know, I really liked Valpolicella. You know, I thought like Amarone country was absolutely gorgeous. That's in the Veneto, about 45 minutes outside. It's right next to my favorite European city, Verona. And you know, they have massive pergolas that support the vines, a ton of history. And the wines are just amazing there. You know, that I really enjoy the Roman ruins of the town. They actually have, so when I visited this wine region, I went to this winemaker, Giuseppe Quintarelli. He sent me down into town to this restaurant, that Deci Apostoli, or 12 Apostles. And at this restaurant, while I was waiting for my food, the server took me on a trip underneath this restaurant, and there was two towns, one on top of each other throughout history. They were both Roman towns, and they had all these, you know, acrylic walkways going through these beautiful old Roman ruins. So I would either go there or right next to it, Friuli Venezia Giulia is another place I would highly recommend. A, because it's not overloaded with tourists, but B, it has everything you want. You have mountains, you have sea, you have, you know, the seafood, and then you have like the more gamey dishes, and the wines are unbelievable. You know, most makes special, unique reds. And not only was one of the cities, Trieste, the key port for the Habsburg dynasty, but all the kind of the struggle over the years between Yugoslavia and Italy, it's right on the Iron Curtain. So there's a lot of history and story of struggle for this particular area, but there's no tourists there.
Can you say
you
the
know?
name?
Friuli.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Let me know if you.
We'll see you there.
Yeah. Does anyone have any other questions? Oh, let's get into the next one. I forgot we have one more one.
We didn't.
Yeah. So the next wine is the Gossier. This is a Côte d'Aron, and from the 2019 vintage. So that means that it's coming. The Rhone River starts in Switzerland, flows north, and then finally south, where it collects into its largest mass in the south of France, and has created some of the steepest slopes in all of France, particularly in the northern Rhone, and then certainly a lot of undulation in the southern Rhone before it drains into the Mediterranean. This is called the Rhone Valley. And the northern Rhone, you typically find more Syrah as a red grape, and it's really peppery and floral and plummy. And then in the southern Rhone, it's more continental up there. And then in the southern Rhone, it's more of a Mediterranean climate, a little bit warmer, more rainy in the winter. You typically find more Grenache down there. So this is from the southern Rhone. And the Côte de Rhone appellation extends all over the southern Rhone and to some parts of the northern Rhone. So typically the blend is Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvèdre. But you can find up to 18 different varietals, which when I was studying a little bit more, I used to be able to name all of them off. There's a reason that they have so many grapes down there, because of the variable weather, and you'll find this in any coastal appellation versus a continental appellation. You'll find more grapes. It's like a stock portfolio for grapes. In case one grape doesn't do bad, you have all these other 18 grapes, 17 grapes to work with. If you go to any continental, and you see that in Tuscany, you see that in Bordeaux, you see that in the southern Rhone. On the other hand, when you get more inland or more mountainous continental climates, you kind of see more monovarietals. It's a little bit more predictable. Burgundy, Barolo, the northern Rhone, for example. So that's just a little way of kind of remembering where you find the blends versus more monovarietal focus. So Michel and Tina Gassier, one of the best producers I know of that produces wines of value that drink incredibly well and make ageable wines. He sources grapes from all over the southern Rhone. It's not like just around his estate. So he gets grapes from the right bank of the Rhone River, which tends to be a little bit more rocky, and you see a lot more of the galets, which are the large stones that they're quartzite, and they ripen grapes a lot more, and it creates a lot more of a sturdy, more grippy style of wine. And then he sources some of his grapes on the left bank, which you tend to see a little bit more like limestone and elegance and aromatics. So I really think this wine kind of meets right in the middle of that. It definitely has the body and the weight and the structure, but also has tons of perfume. I mean, you see that little rosemary on the label. I mean, that is the Southern Rhone in a nutshell. It's all about garrigue, which means like herbal scrub, lavender, rosemary, sagebrush, thyme. And that's what grows around the vineyards, and the vineyards actually take on those aromatics and flavors. So that kind of brings us to why we chose the pairing that we did. Well, first of all, we chose tomato, not only because it's coastal and very Mediterranean, but because of the acidity. We found that this wine didn't have a whole lot of freshness in it, and we felt that pairing a tomato, especially a charred, juicy one that kind of explodes in your mouth, will kind of improve the wine a little bit. The acidity in the tomato will actually make the flavors in the wine pop a little bit. And spring herb, that's the bridge ingredient, kind of drawing the herbal qualities of the wine in with the herbs in the dish. Salt, I thought that really brightened up the dish there, Flor de Sal. Kind of just creating a full balance, because you got like the umami and the acidity and the tomato, and the salt just really brighten everything up and tie it all together. And then the meatiness of the bresaola, which is a beef, like a beef charcuterie item, like a copa or a lomo, but made with beef, and also oranges and coffee. But that adds to like the meatiness of the dish, the dark berries, the charred sun-baked blackberry and cassis and currant. That needed a little bit more meat and savoriness, and that's what the bresaola added to the dish, I thought. So it was a fun pairing. We were really excited about it. I hope you all enjoyed it. I mean, we thought it hit the mark pretty well. But so Southern Rhone, I don't know if you all are familiar with Chateauneuf du Pape. That would be okay. So here's something to know, I guess, about the Southern Rhone is like at the highest tier, you have the appellations. You have the Chateauneuf du Papes, you have Baccarat, Tavels, and then kind of at the basic level, you have Côte de Rhone, because that's a catch-all appellation for value-driven wines. And then kind of how do you graduate? If you're a village, how do you go from Côte de Rhone to becoming your own appellation? Well, the next level is called Côte de Rhone Village. And that's when you've proven yourself in the Côte de Rhone level to being able to append your name onto Côte de Rhone. And then from there, you have to prove to the consortio, or the governing body of Côte de Rhone, that you have international prestige, you have made quality wines for 10 years or more, and that you're worthy of becoming an appellation. So that's kind of the tier system to how you go from Côte de Rhone up to Chateauneuf du Pape level. Chateauneuf du Pape being the appellation that it was New House of the Pope, or Vacation House of the Pope, which occurred in the 1300s. Not by Pope Clement was the second. I can't remember the name of the first pope, but was under Pope jurisdiction up until the 1800s, until it was sold back to the French. Yeah, that's certainly like the most structured, complex, quality-driven area, in large part due to the papal investment in that area. So, what do y'all think? Did y'all like it? The pairing?
Does the restaurant make the bresaola?
We do. Yeah. So we aged that 4 months. We rub coffee grinds and dried orange peels on the outside, and just aged it in a very controlled climate environment. So, yeah. So are you, is the UnCorked, how often do you all meet? Do you meet in person as well?
Yeah,
I know nothing about
yeah. So virtually, we've been doing just about monthly tastings for the past year or so. Since June of last year, we've been doing monthly tastings. In person, we hosted events like every other month or every like 6 to 8 weeks. And as we're starting to return to in-person events next month, we're looking at about that like 6 to 8 weeks timeline as well for in-person tastings. Our next one is going to be with Ripple in Covington.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. What I mean, do you choose topics, or this is always the format, or how do you typically approach?
It just is a conversation with the restaurant. So for Ripple, it'll be like a Spanish themed tasting with dinner included. So that'll be interesting because we've never done a Spanish theme tasting before. For other ones, like our holiday party, it's more of a sit down dinner with wine pairings. It just all depends.
Cool. Sounds like a lot of fun. How do I join?
Oh, sir. Okay. So if I was going to have like an Italian dinner night and I had this wine, what pasta kind of dish might you serve?
Whew. Man,
That'd be
We
frozen.
were good.
I think, I mean, I would certainly go with the tomato theme. I mean, you could, I mean, like a sugo would be really nice. You know, like something like a mirepoix, carrots, onions, celery, little tomato paste, herbs, and then, you know, fold in a protein like lamb. I think would be really nice. You know, like picked lamb into the tomato sauce. We do gnocchi pillows here, but I mean the pasta is just more going to be your base. But I think lamb and like lamb herb dishes are very classic with Côte d'Aron. You know, and you could also forego, you know, like doing like a little jus or veal reduction sauce on top of a lamb, and do like a stroganoff style could be really good. Just kind of thinking out of the box. I know that's more Russian, but you know, just that kind of flavor profile. Like thinking, sometimes I think of like pairings and colors, you know, of the dish and of the wine. So like a darker sauced, you know, trying to think of pasta dish that would really fall in line with that. I don't know, but yeah, I think, yeah, just tomatoes and lamb, you know, staying in that realm is going to be really tasty, I think.
I've got a question. First of all, love both wines. Both are very good. I'm gonna use Joel's comment before it got past the most important part, which is they both taste good.
Hey,
cheers, Joel. That's the right way to say it. You've talked about tomatoes, and I'm gonna, I don't know, maybe it's the elephant in the room, but I'm gonna ask. We had cornichons, but we did not have any charred tomatoes. I didn't know if anybody else was the same. So I was just curious if maybe the chef ran out, but yeah, we had tomato or the cornichons, and not sure what the other thing was on there. So just wanted to throw, the Brecciaola was awesome.
Thank you for asking.
I was hoping somebody else would, but I thought I'd be the guinea pig.
Shoot, I thought the tomatoes made it on there. You know, we're rolling into our new menu today. I apologize if chef, you know, may have confused that, but I would love, you know, to get you all a little bit of our charred tomatoes at some point. I guess he may have replaced the cornichons with the tomatoes. I'm not really sure what happened there. But I apologize about that.
So what
I
about?
think the pairing, oh, sorry.
Doesn't work.
The pairing with the Brajola is amazing, even without the charred tomato. And what's really interesting is that the Brajola by itself is very, very salty. And when you drink it with the wine, it's less salty. The saltiness goes away and the richness comes through. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think, I mean, yeah, that's certainly part of it. You know, I think salt and wine, salt can also profound the taste of alcohol as well. If you have a very alcoholic wine, can make it taste extremely hot. But you know, just the right amount of salt, you know, certainly can work with the flavors in the wine if you think about it as an ingredient. You know, and the wine's providing the acidity to the dish, and and then you have the protein and the saltiness. You know, those are three cooking components. You know, if you're assembling a dish, that's the role the wine's playing right there. So glad to hear you enjoyed that.
What was it about the tomatoes that would make this the good pairing?
The acidity. Yeah. But I think, honestly, like the Cornichons play that same role. With the brightness of the Cornichons, kind of commanding that same flavor profile. So
I will say, Austin, the Cornichons, I think you're right. Without having tasted the charred tomatoes, the Cornichons were awesome with this. I mean, between the Breciola and the Cornichons and the wine, I think it really kind of came together. Now I'm anxious to taste it with the charred tomatoes and give it a try. So,
or if you got a tomato at home, I mean,
the Breciola is an air dried salted beef that has been aged 2 or 3 months.
So I'm the naive one I want to know what was on the stem.
The caperberry?
Is that what that was?
Oh.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask a question. What are Cornichons? What were those? The pickles?
The little pickles.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Let's see. Well, I got out some blackberries that we had and wrapped the Breciola, wrapped the blackberry in the Breciola, and it was wonderful.
Ooh, that is ingenious.
Oh, he's turned off. I can't hear.
There you go. Oh, that's a great idea.
It really tasted good.
I mean, yeah, like berry sauces and red wine, especially little bit riper red wines, like you would find in a sunny environment like the Côte d'Iron. That's a great pairing, and certainly like you're combining like savory with sweet and fruity, and just letting the wine kind of work into that. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's fun.
So what are some of your favorite pairings at Dear?
Favorite what? Sorry?
Favorite pairings at Dear on the menu. So you mentioned you've got a new menu today. What should we come in and try?
Brand new menu, yeah. I mean, I certainly think starting off with our I'm just opening the menu in front of me, but our charcuterie section, I like that with our Rose Cava, the Raventos, which is absolutely stunning. We also have a Riesling that's our own. It comes from my personal vineyard up in Old Mission Peninsula that I produce, and this is the first vintage of that, and that goes really nice. Yeah, it's like Traverse City if you drive just north of there.
Good
so
for
it's
you.
just, yeah, it's it came out really good. We worked with Chateau Grand Traverse, and it goes really nice with the charcuterie items, kind of the acidity cutting through the richness of a lot of those meats, and also the fruitiness contrasting the savoriness. It's really fun pairing. I think, I mean, the oysters and champagne are really great, but I also think the Vouvray with its kind of stony minerality and the honey kind of, it's like oaty honey, but very, very mineral, and crisp acidity go great with either the East or the West Coast oysters, particularly the West Coast because they're a little bit sweeter. Let's see. The the chicken Valentine actually has a blueberry hen jus on it. So kind of like what we were just talking about with the Breciola and the blackberry, kind of plays that same key. It's like savory blueberry, and then you have the hen jus combining with the blueberry. I think that would go really great with our Vincent Paris Syrah. It's like a summer Syrah. It's not from the
Oh,
Northern Rhone.
okay.
It's really bright, really floral, really blue, purple plum, and a little grapey. But it also has all that peppery quality to it. You know, a lot of peppery, savory, herbal qualities to it that I think would tie in really nicely with this. Trying to think. I mean, the root house salad with the greens and the Gruner Veltliner, very classic, delicious pairing. Gruner Veltliner tastes like wasabi and white pepper and you know, like fresh cabbage, all of that. So anything that's kind of green and pretty like that. We also have this amazing Sauvignon Blanc from Germany, producer called Von Winning. That literally tastes like crunchy pico de gallo with like a jalapeno in it, but not in an underripe way. It's very delicate, balanced, and it just makes it so much fun pairing with a lot of these spring foods, such as like the peas and crackers is really good with that. It's or the peach and tomato salad. One of my favorite pairings is tomatoes with Sauvignon Blanc. Just kind of that asparagus, you know, really ripe, kind of peachy mid palate that you find in Sauvignon Blanc, and then the you know, the savoriness of that tomato really go nicely together. So that's another one I really like a lot. See, the hamachi crudo with strawberries, tomatoes, and chili goes really nice with the Albarino from Spain. That's tastes like orange blossoms. The wine does. It's like very aromatic. You know, it has like a lot of bergamot quality. Pretty intensely floral. Really embraces the strawberry flavors and you know, and also just the delicacy of the hamachi crudo. It's a very, very, very fresh fish that was just butchered today. And kind of brings the nice acidity. Actually, we also just added a Sancerre today as well, that I think would maybe even be a better pairing, just because it's a little bit more of a delicate floral quality.
Yeah.
That's the Michel Vuitton Edo Sancerre.
Yum.
I don't know, fried oyster roll or the lobster roll with white burgundy. You know, if you feel like something a little more decadent, I think that's really nice together. I don't know.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. I really enjoy this stuff. It's really fun. So, the linguiça and clam. This is a Portuguese dish. The piperade, which is more of like a like grilled peppers, and the linguiça is like a spicy Italian sausage. We just put a Viognier on the menu from California, actually. And it's really cool. It's old vines. Carol Shelton produces it. It's called Wild Things. And it's a little bit more full bodied, you know, oak fermented, but mostly neutral, but it's really high elevation. So it retains a lot of its freshness, but just the sheer intensity of the aromatics with the of the Viognier that it just naturally possesses. It's like very it's like a fruit kind of like a fruit cake, you know, fruit cocktail power to it, but it balances out like the spiciness of the paprika and it's a very savory dish. So I really think it adds a contrasting quality, but it has a lot of body to it. And the dish is certainly a full body. There's a lot of grill marks, which is something you want to make sure that when you're doing a pairing, I think I forgot to mention this, but you got to really look at sauces and cooking techniques on the dish, because those can really affect the body of the dish. Things like grill marks or char marks, those go really well with like heavily oaked wines, because they, you get the char off the oak, versus, something that's like pan seared or slow poached is gonna be a little bit better with something a little lighter bodied.
That's helpful.
Yeah, I think, do you all like Cabernet Franc?
Learning.
We love Cabernet Franc here. It's such a great food wine. I call it sauce wine because it is so herbal and vegetal, and it has like an herbal tinge on the finish. Retains a lot of acidity, and particularly the one that we just added, the Gourmandise from Patrick Lambert, is really bright summer strawberry and in the mid palate. And it's super fun as a summer pairing. The pork belly chop with the peach and lemon vinaigrette endives, and that's rubbed with it's like a black pepper strawberry rub on it that just rides on perfectly with that Cabernet Franc. Super good. Those are just a few. Whenever you come in, if you want to do pairings like with your whole course, we have orchestrated the entire menu with half glasses, and that's an experience that we provide here that's a little bit more on the special side, and we're happy to do it anytime.
Austin, I'd like to ask about your favorite champagne pairings, food pairings with champagne.
Oh man,
we're real champagne nuts here.
I love that. That's great. Are you more of a Blanc de Blanc?
Yeah, Blanc de Blanc.
Okay. Well, one of
minerality.
You like the minerality, so you like the elegance, the precision of it, the look, like the light honey, and I mean, champagne is so much fun to pair with because of the bubbles,
Yeah, it's so much fun anyway because of the bubbles. We love champagne. That's our go-to wine.
Yeah.
But yeah, our friends tend to like more fruitiness. You get into a little bit more and you start to appreciate the minerality. So I can see where there'd be a variety of stuff that you could pair depending on which general class of champagne you're going for, fruity or mineral.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think different applications, certainly like with like a Blanc de Noir. I've even seen a Blanc de Noir paired with fuller bodied poultry dishes. But a Blanc de Blanc certainly more on the delicate side, but it has action because of those bubbles. It's called a cleansing sensation, right? It penetrates through things that are a little bit more rich, and also like works to the creaminess of the mousse in the mouth. Also like it just makes it very, very versatile and fun with pairings. A few of my favorite things are definitely dishes that are fried, like tempura batter.
Okay, yes.
Because like right away, like you're talking about like a very rich coating on, we do our fried monkfish here. That's brand new on the menu. And that
sounds good.
Like a lobster texture. And then you have the champagne. Champagne is piercing through that tempura batter. I think that'd be really nice. It's really great with just, I think, our lobster roll with the Blanc de Blanc, which we actually don't use mayonnaise. We make our own mayonnaise out of processed lobster. So
really? Okay.
It doesn't taste like mayonnaise.
Okay.
And it's a little bit, you know, salty foods like oysters are very, very lovely with champagne. Caviar. We have we added a salmon crudo with caviar.
Okay, salmon sounds good.
Or roe, you know, something, the saltiness with the creaminess of the wine and the elegance of the bubbles, something about seafood and Blanc de Blanc, you know, you can't go wrong. Even like a halibut with like a beurre blanc, you know, cutting through. I love champagne. It's just
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Truffles.
Anything. All right, anything. We've tried almost anything with champagne.
Yeah, I've even seen people
the
do
tempura
like
is-
full like 5-course meals with just champagne. I mean, if you get we're doing actually something I'd love to tell you all about, but we're doing a Reventos dinner at the end of the month. Reventos is the sparkling wine producer of Spain, whose family invented the Cavadillo, and they helped develop that. They were key in that, and they also brought sparkling wine to Spain originally. So they're 27 generations deep. We have the grandson of Joseph Revent. I know, right? It's like, where are we? We have like, you know, our grand.
Neanderthal. Yeah.
So we're doing a full dinner. Not all of it's sparkling. 3 of them are sparkling. Yeah, and but one of them's aged 4 years on the lees, and we're pairing that with that chicken Valentine. Or no, that's the red wine pairing. We're pairing that with the agnolotti, which is scallops. And a ham corn brodo with scallops, and it's a pasta dish, egg pasta, so a little bit richer, but you have that 4 years in the lees, so it gets so much richness and brioche, you know, doughy character from that time spent, and then you add in the more ripe style of fruit that you get down in the Catalonia region. You know, adds a lot of body to the dish. You do want something a little bit fuller bodied, but we're really excited about that dish. Yeah.
That
Cindy?
sounds lovely.
Nice.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Cindy? Cindy, can you hear me? Yes. So
Yes.
when a snowstorm is coming in the winter, most people stock up on bread and milk. In our household, we buy baguettes, which we slice and toast, and we serve them with a plate of do your own, really good butter, scallions, parsley, and caviar, and a lemon squeezed on top. And champagne.
And champagne. What else?
And champagne. And we lay it out in a platter. The kids eat it. We eat it. Most people eat pancakes and chocolate milk. Our kids grew up drinking champagne and eating caviar on snow days.
What good parents you have.
Thank
you. I think that sounds like an invite next snowstorm.
Yeah, yeah.
If you can get here, you're our
guest. And I don't know if it's true or not, but we were given that way of eating caviar by a friend who learned it in Czechoslovakia when there was Czechoslovakia.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to try it in one of the snowstorms in Vermont.
Oh, you get snow in Vermont?
We live now. Yeah.
Perfect. Keep all of these items in stock all the time.
We'll have to.
Nice. Well, I'm excited for you all to get the opportunity to meet in person and enjoy wine together again. I think we're all looking forward to that. I have to get up to the dining room to take care of our guests. But please stop in sometime and visit us. We'd really love to Take care of you.
Thank you, Austin. This was
Thank you.
great. The wines
Thank
were
you.
perfect. And yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Austin. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yep. Have a good night.
You too.
And thank you everyone for joining us this evening. As mentioned a few times now, our next tasting will be on Thursday, August 19th with Ripple Wine Bar in Covington, and that one will be in person. All registration information will be in the post-event email that will be sent to you in the next couple of days. Again, thank you for joining us this evening. Have a good night.
Thank you.